There's absolutely no reason for these dudes to be online 24/7 just trying to make us seem like we're horrible people when all we did was give birth to them, and half these chicks gave them a place to stay, and half of them been waiting on a damn ring for 10 years, and they ain't got one yet. But y'all telling the world, we just trying to be husbands. We just trying to find love. Well, why ain't you married the chick you been shacking up with for the last 8 years?
So here's a new story, March 18, 2023, 3 minutes. I find it amazing they have to tell you that it's only going to take you 3 minutes to read it. But anyway, more American women are single than ever before, and it's costing them big money. Before I even start reading it, simple to understand. The tax code in America is specifically designed around family and family planning. It's not designed to benefit singles at all. The tax code in America, even if when you think about the child tax credits and you think about the money that was given out for stimulus if you had children, or you even think about these unwed single mothers who are collecting these welfare checks per child, the simple fact is, and it comes back to a very simple economic fact, the health of the state is live births. The health of the state is live births. There are some countries right now going through austerity. Their welfare states are declining. You see the banks are right now in crisis. You see Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank. There's a possibility Citi might be next. We don't know. But the reality is there's a lot of these European countries. There's a lot of these Asian countries, and they're trying to do anything they can to convince people to have more children, because the problem is the population is getting older and the youth are dying out. And what it is that there's this huge gap between, because, okay, let's think about Eastern Europe. You've got a lot of young men being killed right now, dying out. Russia, Ukraine, anybody who wants to volunteer to fight and die for NATO. You know, you've got an issue right there where you got these young men dying out. And then you got the women, and the women outnumber the men, and there's nobody to have families and husbands with. And then you look at countries like China. China has been trying to convince these people, yeah, you got to have 3 children. They used to have the one-child policy. Now they say, no, okay, you know what? We realize we screwed up, so no, you know what? Have 3 children, or have as many as you can. But here's the problem. Modern feminism and the workplace, capitalism, have basically created a situation where these men are not easily getting these traditional marriages that they wanted, so they're refusing to marry these women. The Chinese, oh God, I think I have to say it, the Chinese refuse to marry these women after certain ages. Chinese men, they say they're leftover women. They call them shengyu. And they say, no, if you're 27, no, I'm not marrying you. So the problem is, do you have a steady flow of women up to the age that they're willing to marry these women? And the answer is, in most cases, no. So what the Chinese men are doing is they're going down to other Southeast Asian countries. They're going to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, anywhere that has a similar Confucian family orient towards marriage and a man being in charge, patriarchy. They'll go to those countries and they're picking women from those countries. Now, the Japanese, oh boy, these Japanese guys are brutal. If you reach a certain age, they call the women Christmas cake. And the reason why they do that is because they say, okay, during Christmas, the Japanese, they celebrate Christmas, but they give each other cakes. Kind of like we used to have, we used to give out rum cakes as gifts. And the Japanese men, they have these cakes, they give people cakes, but the problem is they don't eat it all because, they're skinny, they're not very heavy. Most of these guys are like under 150 pounds. So the issue ultimately comes if these Christmas cakes get left over, they start calling them leftover cake. Now, they use that term to talk about the women. And once these women are a certain age, they refuse to marry them, just like the Chinese. The Chinese say, okay, if you're 27, I refuse to marry you. Now, the Japanese may consider their women to be leftover cake if they are over 25, 27, especially in their 30s. If they're between 30 and 40, Japanese men refuse to marry them. Something similar also happens in South Korea. Now, if you ask these Japanese men, it's like, well, why do you have to go to these other countries to get women? Why don't you just marry one of the leftover women or the Christmas cakes from your country? Well, that Japanese man is going to look at you angrily, and his eyes are going to narrow, and his brows are going to drop down, and he's going to look at you very, very upset. And you know what he's going to say to you? He's going to say, no! No, what the Christmas kicker! No! No, what the Christmas kicker! No! 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 So ultimately, we don't have that problem in America because the men here have been beaten down so badly by feminism that they have almost no standards left at all. It used to be a time where they wouldn't get married unless the woman, like usually it had to be like damn near an arranged marriage. And then that changed and, the men wouldn't get married to women who had like a body count at all. But now, the men here, they're forced to accept whatever's just thrown out there on the trash can lid for them. And that's it. So a lot of the men are saying, I refuse to get married. They don't even want to date anymore. Most of these news stories are revolving around the fact these men don't even want to date anymore. In one of the stories recently, they said the men are saying that dating feels like it's a job interview. And they just don't see the point in doing it anymore. So you got these women who are making these articles and they're complaining that no men will take them out on dates, which, came long after other articles that said the men were being used for food by some women who were going out on dates just so that they could get food. They going out for dinner, had no intentions of sleeping with the guy, had no intentions of giving him any relationship beyond the date. So now they're acting surprised when the men say, yeah, I'm not taking you out at all. So I'm not giving you a date at all. I'm not giving you a relationship at all. I'm just going to keep moving on by myself. And a lot of these women are taking it as a slight. Some of these women are trying to report men who don't give them any play whatsoever. Like they'll be in the workforce at the job and the men are coming in, getting their paycheck, come in, get their paycheck, leave. And the women are complaining that the men are being antisocial, as if they're trying to use a red flag law on them or something. Now, I'm not going to divert anymore. Let's read this story. Let's find out what these women are doing. Why is it costing them so much money? Let's read it. It says, next time, oh, shit. Oh, my God. Look what they're going to make me do. They're going to make me start singing. Oh, my God. Look at this. Oh, my God. I can't, oh, my God. Somebody at these news places, somebody must be listening to me. Look, oh man, I'm almost afraid to read what it says. Look at that. Look what it says. I'm almost afraid to read what this says right here. It says, next time Beyonce asks for all the single ladies to put their hands up, there may be a bigger crowd than you think. Now, anybody who's frequented my channel knows that when I see certain terms, it sends me into a singing rampage. One of those terms is Beyonce's Independent Women song. She had a song, Independent Women, that I think they did a remix for Charlie's Angels. The other one is All the Single Ladies. All the Single Ladies. Now, when I saw this, you could probably hear it in the background. I was firing up my computer because I have to have background music if I'm going to sing those Beyonce hits. I got to, because I know YouTube is going to mess with you. Copyright infringement, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really have much of a choice. I have to pull up All the Single Ladies. All the Single Ladies. What is it? Where's the instrumental? There we go. All the Single Ladies. All the Single Ladies. Oh, man. I can't sing too much of it, because if I do, YouTube will definitely hit me with that copyright strike. They don't give a fuck. Here we go. Oh boy, goddamn! How could they do this to me? All I want to do is read the story, and now they're hitting me with this. It says, which of these airlines would you consider choosing? Air France, JetBlue, French Bee, Fly North? The answer is none of the above. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. You hear that? You hear that in the background. See, that's the problem. Singing this is a problem because YouTube, you know? All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Go. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. No, I gotta stop. I gotta stop because if I don't, I'm definitely getting hit with the goddamn copyright strike. I know it. See, the problem is YouTube, they got this AI shit that reads and hears everything, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. So, you can't do this. You can't do this. See, all these single ladies, they're the problem right now. They refuse to be cooperative, and now they're going to pay the singles tax. What is this single tax? All the single ladies, 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 all the single ladies. Put your hands up. We just broke up. I'm doing my own little thing. Decided to dip, but now you want to trip? Because another brother know it is me. I'm up for him, he up for me. Don't pay any attention. Dried my tears, good for 3 years. You can't get mad at me. Because if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Don't be mad once you see that he want it. If you like it, then you should have ring on it. Okay, I'm going to stop right now. I got to stop. Okay. That's enough for that. I got to stop. Gotta stop. Get back to the story. Okay, it says nearly 118 million Americans, or about 46% of those over 18 years old, are single, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. But that percent is actually much higher for women. A record-breaking 52% of them are unmarried or separated as of 2021, according to a recent report from Wells Fargo Economics. The growing number of Americans who have never married, either because they decided to get married later in life or forgo getting hitched altogether, have driven the rise of single women in the U.S. The share of never married women increased 20% over the past decade, according to Wells Fargo's analysis of U.S. Department of Commerce data. The growing number of single adults helps to normalize America's decisions to remain uncoupled and broaden social trends. In fact, 68% of Americans believe that the stigma of being single is gradually diminishing. No, it's not. It's not. They want to believe that it's diminishing, but that stigma will be there and it will always be there. You know how you know it's always going to be there? Because we actually have holidays and we have special occasions that aren't going away. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, the holiday season. Think about these women who are sitting at home. Nobody bought them chocolate. Nobody took them out on a date. Now, okay, Valentine, what is it? Today is March 25th. I took my girl and we went out and I took some pictures. I put that on my community chat. Some people saw it. We had a nice dinner. I got her a nice chocolate box because I always get the chocolate box. I usually don't get flowers because I think that's a waste of money because flowers die real quick. So I usually don't do the flowers. I didn't do the flowers this time. All I got was chocolate. I got a little card with the chocolate, and that was about it because, it was cheap. It was like $1 for the card. You write a little bit of something in there. But that's how I do it. But see, a lot of these ladies, they didn't get nothing at all. And in fact, let me take it to the next level. There were some women who I work with, and I actually got a couple of them a little bitty something for Valentine's Day. I'm not even going to talk about what it is. But the bottom line is I got them a little bit of something just to show I cared. But there's a lot of women who didn't get shit. In fact, there's a lot of women who what they did was they got on 1-800-Flowers and they called it in for themselves. And they said, yeah, I want you to deliver this to my address. And they delivered stuff to themselves because they knew there's nobody out there buying them nothing. Even the Pookie or the Ray Ray that they might have been given the gook to a little bit, that dude didn't get them nothing. Did he take them out on a date? No. Did he take them to the movies? No, nothing. It was a very quiet evening. And I've told y'all about this. These women on TikTok talking all this smack about the passport bros. They talking all this junk about men and talking about how men aren't doing this and men are doing that and they're criminals and predators and this, that, and other. Guess what? Come Valentine's Day, all the talking stopped. Their channels go silent. Their channels go dark like SEAL Team 6. They go dark and silent. You don't hear nothing from them. Okay, so it says, where was I? It says, in fact, 68% of Americans believe that the stigma of being single is gradually diminishing, according to a recent survey by the Harris Poll. Yet, single women still tend to face more challenges when building wealth. Good for you. You wanted equality. You wanted independence. Now you're going to pay for it. Okay. In fact, Harris finds 3/4 of Americans say that it can be more affordable to be in a relationship, especially when it comes to splitting everyday costs like housing, expenses, food prices, or monthly bills. Let me tell you something, and this is something you don't understand until you have a girlfriend or a wife. If you've got a girlfriend or a wife who can cook, and you're bringing home the raw materials, and she's cooking, and she's apportioning the food, and she's making leftovers for tomorrow, and she's freezing certain things, if she really, really knows how to cook, and she knows how to save parts of the meat and all that, like the liver and stuff that you would never touch normally, but she knows just what she's doing. She knows how to cook it up properly. She knows how to freeze dry it. She knows how to say, let me tell you something. A woman who can cook, because that's a skill that has been lost. See, the thing about it is people think cooking is like when you turn on Gordon Ramsay and he just shows you how to buy a couple of things and cook. No. It's not that simple. There's also preparation that goes into it. There's also food storage. When you have a woman who can cook, like you got a girlfriend, like let's say you got a Korean girlfriend and she knows how to chop up them vegetables, chop up those fruits, and she's sending you to work with a lunchbox. Because see, y'all think lunchboxes, y'all think that shit is for kids. No, it's not. It's not for kids. They were construction workers who had wives who were sending them off to the construction site with a lunchbox and a thermos. That shit ain't for kids. If you do that, you save a lot of money. For one, chances are, if she really knows how to cook, you'll eat healthier because she'll be using healthier options, not taking a can of soup and tossing it into your thermos. No. She'll make that soup. She knows how to make stock, chicken stock, beef stock, pork stock. She knows that stuff if she knows how to cook. And the thing about it is, if you've got a family, y'all think that eating out all the time, y'all think that's the way it's supposed to be done. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. No, if y'all have some cooking skills, especially the mom, and she's making that food and she's apportioning it properly, you save a lot of money on food. Pasta, rice, meals, vegetable and rice, pasta and rice. You get my drift. But see, this is what they call the single tax. A lot of people end up spending so much of their money simply because they have no home economics whatsoever. So anyway, let's keep going. In fact, 3/4 of Americans say that it can be more affordable to be in a relationship, especially when it comes to splitting everyday costs. And all singledom is not created equal, especially when it comes to gender parity. Women face not only a gender wage gap in the U.S., earning about 0.83 cents per dollar to men, but they also run up against a wealth gap too. The median household income for married couples was $106,921 as of 2021. According to census data, single women I said it again, single women earn a median income of 51,168, while single men make 70,000. Now, before you start that bullshit about gender gaps and wage gaps and all that, the simple fact is men do more difficult, more dangerous, and dirtier jobs. That's the bottom line. I have never in my life seen a woman building a bridge. I've never in my life seen a group of only women building a bridge. I can tell you that I've seen men doing it. I've never in my life seen a group of women building an airplane. I've seen men doing it. I have never in my life seen a group of women working on a construction of roads. I've seen men doing it. The only time I see a woman is when she's standing there holding a stop sign and waving the stop sign, and they call that a job. So you can't lie to me. I'm not woke and all that bullshit. I'm going to tell it like it is. It's just what it is. So the bottom line is, yeah, men get paid more. Men take fewer days off work. Men aren't burdened with pregnancy. Men aren't designed to get pregnant. They don't have uteruses and they don't have breasts. They don't have uteruses to birth babies out of their vagina, and they also don't have breasts to give milk to the baby. That's not how men are designed. Bottom line. So listen, you can keep listening to those lies they tell you on TLC and all those lies that they use for clickbait. But the bottom line is nature does not compromise. Nature does not compromise. Nature can't be canceled. Nature will cancel you. Nature does not compromise, it absolutely makes no compromises whatsoever. And you can't cancel nature. Nature cancels you. That's how it works. It's called entropy. From the moment you were born, your body started declining and your life started ticking away. And when nature consumes your flesh and the worms eat you, and they make gas out of you, and they fart you out, and they make dust out of you, that's how it works, period. If you mad, file your complaints with God or Jesus, because nobody's listening, nobody cares. So anyway, it's just that simple. So anyway, where was I? While that's troubling, the Fed's data includes both women who have never married as well as those who divorced and may have commingled assets at some point. The St. Louis Fed research finds that single women who never married have a lower net worth of about 0.71 cents per $1 compared to the median never married man's wealth, or a wealth penalty of about 29%. The picture even gets more bleak for single women with children. Oh, boo-hoo. I have an idea, ladies. Marry before you carry. And if you can't handle that, then you're going to pay the single tax. Period. No compromising. No compromises. It's just that simple. But the persistent gender wealth gap highlights that it is more than just a motherhood penalty holding back women's pay. Wells Fargo, people known for creating false accounts, researchers point out, especially since single women tend to be homeowners at rates higher than single men. And housing is a big part of most Americans' total net worth. Researchers at Wells Fargo, however, note these dynamics could shift as single women become an increasingly important segment in the workforce. I don't think that's going to happen. You already got ChatGPT out here trying to take these jobs away from these basic-ass journalists who barely can write for shit and are probably on a 5th or 6th grade reading level. And then on top of that, you've got AI threatening to take jobs away from people who actually have jobs that are in the service sector. They're saying that they're going to have McDonald's where everybody's a robot in the McDonald's. So no, I don't think so. I think your outlook is going to be real bleak in the next 10 to 20 years. So anyway, gradual improvement in single women's labor market prospects could position them better to build wealth and gain spending power in the years ahead. But for now, single women often remain in a more financially fragile position than other segments of the population, according to the report. Okay, then they go on to talk about 5 side hustles that you could do. Expert advice: keep your money safe during bank failures. UFB, direct savings account. This is how much money you need to earn annually to comfortably buy a $600,000 home. Okay, in fact, that's worth looking at real quick. How much money do you need to afford a $600,000 home? Now, I'll tell you just like this. To even afford one of my homes, that was slightly less than $300,000. You're talking about a mortgage is going to be about $1,300 to $1,400 if you got it under 3%, which I did. And then you're talking about on a monthly basis, you're looking about spending about $2,500 a month, especially if you factor in utilities, even the most basic of utilities. You're looking at about $2,500 a month for a $300,000 house. So a $600,000 house is probably costing you no less than $5,000 a month. Most of the people who are buying a house like this usually are renting parts of them out, unless you are lucky enough to have a couple and both of them are making enough money where they can gladly, they can put aside $5,000 a month for the house, all the expenses. So let's see what they say. Now, I say $5,000. Now, it says, as it stands, the most recent data from the Fed shows that the median sales price of houses sold in the U.S. stood at $467,700. Okay? And in the second half of 2022, higher than normal interest rates push U.S. house prices down 2.5%. The problem that you're facing is that right now the interest rate's between a 5 and a 7, depending upon how good your credit is. So let's see. What do they say about how much money you need? It says, how much do you need to afford a $600,000 home? Let's see. It says your home value shouldn't be more than 2 or 2.5 times your salary. This means if you're making $100,000, you shouldn't purchase a home with a value of $200,000 or $250,000. Well, now, yeah. Well, that's basically right. That's basically right. Following this logic, in order to afford a $600,000 home, your income would need to be at least $350,000 per year. Other rules say you should aim to spend less than 28% of your pre-tax monthly income on a mortgage. These are just general guidelines, and the exact amount you can afford to comfortably pay each month will depend on your financial obligations and goals. They don't. Oh, wait. It says your purchase price, $600,000, down payment $36,000 or 6%, and they're saying loan term 30 years at a fixed rate. Loan interest as of February 10, 2023, your total monthly mortgage payment would be around $3,565. Here's the problem, though. That's just the mortgage for $600,000. That does not include taxes and insurance. So if you assume that your taxes and insurance are going to cost you yet another $900 to $1,000, then you're basically at $4,565. And then if you assume that you're going to have to pay utilities of some type, you got to pay gas, you got to pay electricity, you're probably going to have to pay internet or cable. Chances are, they say $3,565. I'm telling you, this is going to be no less than $5,000 because you have to factor in your mortgage, taxes, and insurance, and you have to factor in your utilities. So no, $5,000. I'm saying right like this, $5,000 a month. But see, the problem that I see right here is that they're only telling you about the mortgage, and the mortgage is its own payment. But you have to insure your house, and you have to have taxes escrowed for your house. Otherwise, you're going to end up screwed each tax season. You're going to end up owing back taxes. But that's the reason why taxes and insurance are usually escrowed, so those things get paid. So the bottom line is, short of you being a woman who's young and hot and selling photos of your feet on Instagram or doing OnlyFans or something, chances are you're not making $350 a year. Chances are. Now, it's funny because I keep telling the story. I have a friend bought a house, and she, single female, bought a house over $600,000. Actually, her house was like $650,000. And she put down a little bit of money, and the thing about it is she didn't consult me, so she ended up paying stiff penalties on the money that she took out of her pension or her retirement plan because she didn't consult me. I would have told her, don't do it. It's just that simple. I would say, listen, don't do it because you're going to end up getting penalized left and right. So sure enough, she did it. Ends up having to rent out the top half of a house. She lives in the basement, had to have the basement redone so she could stay in the basement, had the top half rented out, had to pay $10,000 in taxes, including whatever penalty she had for the money that she took out. And that was relatively recent. That was within the last 3 years. So the thing about it is, Yeah, she's a single female, but she has to rent out the better part of her house and sleep in the basement. I would never put myself in a situation like that. So you mean to tell me I own this house, but I'm some troll in the basement and y'all are above me and everything, and I've got to hear you walking on my floorboards and you're above me? Fuck that. Never. That would never be me. Never. I would rent out the whole place and move out instead of have you stepping all over my floorboards or on top of my head. Hells no. That's not how I do business. It's just not how I do business. But that's what it is. Single women have been purchasing a lot of these houses, and they've been allowing themselves to get suckered into these home loans. And the reality is they don't have the money to afford it. And it's just that simple. Not only that, as I said, the tax code is designed to benefit people who are having children. The tax code is in no way designed to benefit people who are not having children. This tax code is designed specifically to entice people to have children by giving you tax cuts, tax breaks, stimulus checks, blah, blah, blah. So the reality is you are paying a single tax. And they've had a couple of news stories talking about the single tax. So that just lets you know that, yeah, there's a lot of women out there hurting right now. And the thing about it, what I find is so funny, most of these women don't pay attention to the economics that goes behind these interest rate hikes. The Federal Reserve is hiking interest rates and is going to keep hiking interest rates because they have no choice. They have to fight inflation, and in order to do that, interest rates have to go up to meet the price of inflation. The problem is that inflation is so high and America is so high in debt at this point. America has over $31 trillion in debt, headed towards $32 trillion. The problem is that they can't raise the interest rates too high because they wouldn't be able to pay the national debt, and they'd end up defaulting on the debt. So what they're doing is they're raising it just high enough where they can pay the interest on the debt, but not so high that they end up defaulting on the debt. But the problem is that the point where they have it is lower than the cost of inflation. Therefore, they can't fight inflation because inflation is out of control. And that's just a reality. That's what they won't simply come out and say. Jerome Powell will never confess it. So I can say whatever I want. He'll never say it until he says it. It's not a fact, and which is a shame that you have to wait for somebody to lie to you, but that's just what it is. So the reality is they're going to keep raising these interest rates. As they raise these interest rates, your credit card will become less and less affordable because the interest rate is so high that now you'll be paying so much more per month that it'll start eating away at your income. And when I say credit cards, there's some people out there who are walking around $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, even $10,000 or more of credit card debt. Your monthly payments are going to keep going up when these interest rates go up. Right now, we've gone from 4.75 up 0.25 to 5%. Right now, it's almost impossible to buy a house. As you said in this story, the mean cost of one of these houses is about $475,000. Basically, they might as well say $500,000. But the reality is, if you do try and go buy one, you're just going to get outbid by somebody who offers more money. So they're going to bid up the price. Market adjustment is going to bid up the price. So that $500,000 easily becomes $525,000. Factor in foreign money, foreigners who have a lot of cash. Who knows? It could go to $600,000. There's been a number of situations, foreign money offering sight unseen, $100,000, $200,000 over just to get it. Can you compete with that? The answer is no. The answer is no. Now, back to these women. There's another story that says that by 2030, the majority of these women are going to be single and childless. Wherein, this is where the passport bros come in. These women have decided that they want to do things their way. They're all independent ladies, and they want to do things their way. And the passport bros have decided that they're not going to tolerate it. They're going to get their passports. They're going to leave this country. They're going to find traditional women who are more reasonable, who aren't going to give them that hard time when it comes to relationship and dating and marriage. And chances are maybe even marry from a country where the thought of divorce is abhorrent to these women. And there you have it. So all I got to say to the rest of these single ladies is basically it's this. If you like the date, you should have put a ring on it. If you like the date, you should have put a ring on it. Don't be mad once you see that he wanted. I got glass on my lips, a man on my hips, holding on tighter on jeans, acting up, drinking my cup. I can care less what you think. I need no permission. Did I mention? Don't pay me attention. Cause you had your turn, and now you're gonna learn what it really feels like to miss me. If you like it, you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, you should have put a ring on it. Don't be mad once you see that he wanted. If you like it, you should have put a ring on it.
These women are poor and vulnerable,
Easier to manipulate.
Know their place.
Disadvantage.
are in dire financial need.
They want their visas.
They have to be quiet. They don't know better.
That's why you have to go to developing countries to try to take their women, and it sickens me. And
Yes, they'll do what you say.
she is in a dire situation.
Because she doesn't know about much in life.
They have to bow and scrape at these men's feet.
If you are a man and brag about go to underprivileged third world countries to get a wife, an obedient wife, you are a predator.
Well, hello everybody. I'm from Thai.
I'm from the Philippines.
We're sitting here long ass time for our passport to come in. So where are you?
We're waiting for the passport, bro.
Don't hate.
Cheers.
To be continued.